Thank you, Jay. Thanks for the invitation, and thank you all for spending your Saturday afternoon learning about Strikepoint. So Strikepoint trades on the TSX under symbol SKP. We're also listed in the US and in the Frankfurt Exchange. So I think the key to a successful junior mining company is the management team. I'm really proud to say that we have a very diverse group, former investment advisors, investor relations professionals, mining engineers, exploration geologists. It's a diverse group that has had project success and also had success selling companies like Strikepoint to mid-tiers and majors. So we've got Ian Harris, who is a mining engineer on the board. He was instrumental in the sale of Corriente Resources for $690 million. And Ian is great at vetting projects, and I'm surrounded by a lot of geologists who are very enthusiastic about drill targets. And Ian, he's got a good grounding presence in terms of looking at things with a production eye. He's currently the president of Para Resources. Adrian Fleming, who I think a lot in the MIF community would probably recognize. He was the founder of Northern Empire, which was acquired by Core Mining last summer for $117 million. Adrian was also the president of Underworld Resources up in the Yukon, which made the Golden Saddle discovery and subsequently sold to Kinross for $138 million. So we've got a strong team. My background, I've been in the industry for 15 years. I come from an IR and corp dev background, and the team collectively, we've raised almost $1 billion for junior and developing projects. So coming from the IR corp dev world, this is probably what I'm most proud about in terms of our share structure. We've got 88 million shares out. 70% of the stock is held by what I would describe as a group of renowned, long-term oriented precious metals investors. Like the previous story, we've got ownership in Europe and Switzerland, in Texas, well represented here in Canada, both in Toronto and Vancouver. From the institutional perspective, Eric Sprott is a large shareholder. 20% of the stock is held by two public companies, Skeena Resources, who I think a lot of you would also be familiar with, and ASCOT Resources. Management, again, skin in the game with a plus 10% stake. And then the retail contingent that controls 30% of the stock. We are in strong communication with this group. These are big shareholders, they're supportive, they're long-term oriented. We've just got a fantastic group that gives us a solid foundation for success. And considering Strikepoint is new to the MIF community, I put together this timeline, and it essentially gives you an idea of what the company's been up to for the last couple of years. When gold prices bottomed in December 2015 and the TSX had bottomed in January of 16, I thought it was probably a really good time to build a gold company. My thinking was there's a lot of undervalued assets that are out there. This is the time to put these together. There's underutilized people that are out there that have had success that I've gotten to know, and I'm proud to say that if you value the projects we've acquired, and we've acquired over 25 precious metal properties, if you look at the peak valuation of these properties, they once yielded a $500 million valuation. We acquired these properties for $10 million, and only $1 million of that was cash. We've raised over $11 million, and we've deployed over $8 million into exploration. 2018 and 19, our focus has been in the Golden Triangle, and the triangle, it's a well-endowed area, over 60 million ounces of gold, has been discovered, over 400 million ounces of silver. It's home to the biggest and best mining companies under the sun. And that's from the major standpoint. And then if you go down a tier, you've got Pretium's successful example with Brucejack, building a $2 billion company. I think there's a lot in the community that are depressed about gold equities or the gold price, but the reality is here in Canada, we've got $1,700 gold. The all-in sustaining cash cost for Pretium is under $700 Canadian, so that's $1,000 an ounce profit, and they're producing 500,000 ounces a year. And we've also got, we've identified Skeena and ASCOT here on the map. So where Strikepoint's focus in the triangle is at the southern part of the triangle, right at the town of Stewart. And I would argue that this is probably one of the best positions in terms of infrastructure. Stewart is home to a deepwater seaport, a network of roads that includes Highway 37A, power lines, and just tremendous, tremendous infrastructure. One company that I want to make note of, which is Strikepoint's largest shareholder with 12%, is a public company called ASCOT Resources. And ASCOT controls the premier mine and mill. And this was at one time the richest gold mine on the planet. It produced 2 million ounces of gold, 45 million ounces of silver, and the mill was last in operation in the late 90s. What the new ASCOT management team has done under Derek White over the last 15 months is they've consolidated a land package and built up a resource base of just under 3 million ounces of high-grade gold. Their grade is in the 7th percentile in terms of global averages, so exceptionally high grade. So ASCOT, in the last 6 months, has acquired 2 of Strikepoint's neighbors, Jadin Resources and IDM Mining. So this graphic, it depicts a 3D graphic. It shows you a little bit of the topography, a little bit of the infrastructure. But what I want you to make note of here is Strikepoint's Willoughby property, which is located 4 miles away from Red Mountain. And Willoughby is going to be the focus of our exploration program in 2019. It's hosted in the same rocks as Red Mountain, and it's demonstrated the same type of grades. This is an image of the Willoughby property. The yellow circle there depicts just a small part of the property that's been explored. I'll highlight one of the drill holes that were drilled about 20 years ago, and that was 20 meters of 25-gram gold and 184-gram silver. This is a section that is outlining multiple zones where high-grade gold and silver mineralization has been discovered. You're looking at about a 1-kilometer strike length. Our goal is to get up on the property within the next 30 to 45 days and validate and confirm some of the drilling that was done 20 years ago, and the goal would be to continue to grow resources. I just want to make mention, we have another strong asset in the surrounding area. It is a past producing silver mine. It is the Porter project. So this is a 3D map of Porter. Our claims cover Mount Rainey, and we've built up a very significant land position that extends into the valley. The opportunity at Porter is you have at Mount Rainey, you've got 2 past producing mines that are roughly 2 kilometers apart. And basically what you have, just looking at this side here at the old Porter Prosperity Mines, essentially you have a 13 million ounce modern resource grading 868 gram per ton. This is essentially what was left behind by the old-time miners who were producing grades that were 3 times this. They were producing at an average grade of 2,500 grams per ton. Where we see the opportunity is linking these 2 past producing systems, Silverado and Porter, and there's 2 kilometers that has not been explored. The company did do some exploration activities last year. It was successful. We were finding new veins outside of the main resource area, highlighted with over 40,000 gram per ton silver in surface samples and high-grade intercepts as well. I think my time's run out here, so I'm going to just show you one last slide. We've got a YUKON portfolio that rivals any gold portfolio in the world. This is a portfolio that has seen over $30 million worth of exploration activities. It was put together by legendary prospector Shawn Ryan. And it's something where, because so much assessment work has been done, the properties are in good standing, some of them up to the next 10 years. So we don't have to do work on these. So my thinking here is Strikepoint. We have these high-grade projects in BC. We've got this big portfolio up in the Yukon, which gives investors leverage and optionality to a rising gold price. Thank you.